Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the History of Fan Anime. I'm your host, William Chow. In today's episode, we're going to talk about a series of episodes talking about collections and how people's collections have grown and what we've got in everyone's sort of different collections. And in today's episode, I'm going to talk about my CD collection, namely my Japanese and anime CD collection. Okay? So before we begin, I want to remind everyone to go down below, click like, and click subscribe. And again, if you want to see more episodes of this particular type of content, you can always leave comments and that kind of stuff and tell me about things that are in your collection. And if you'd like to support me, I also do have the links for the super thanks below, as well as the links for PayPal and Patreon, where I'm releasing different episodes and that kind of stuff, special content for those particular subscribers. And thank you for your support. All right. So, and again, today's episode, I'm going to start a very series of episodes talking about people's collections and things like that. And there's many different people in my anime club. This a group around this that has different types of collections. And I'm going to go through and sort of go over how they've collected so many different things, what they've done, special things that are in their collections and whatnot. So, in today's episode, I'm doing my music CD collection, and namely the Japanese and anime ones. So, I've already mentioned it before, and I've shown it in different episodes, and even when I had Happy Console Game Over, I showed bits and pieces of my music collection as I was kind of compiling and moving them around. And finally I've actually erected in this room a shelf that actually holds virtually almost all the CDs that I've got. I've still got quite a few that are still in storage, which needs to be fit on this rack. But this rack basically goes almost to the ceiling from the ground, and it covers almost this entire wall. And you can see right behind me, I've also started to angle it as well, so that if I run out of room on this particular shelf, I can continue the shelving that way as well. Okay, so on this different shelf, I start from the very top, which is basically my anime. I've got them labeled by different letters, as you can see here. This is the C's begin with the letter O, animes begin with the letter P, and then basically continue onwards until basically this row here, which is basically A through Z for anime listed over here. Okay, I've got mixes and that kind of stuff in the middle. Okay, so these are kind of collections, countdowns, that kind of stuff and whatnot. Okay, and then starting on this row here, I've got my Japanese artists. Okay, so basically starting with the letter A, I worked onwards, and then you can just see these little cards I've got here for the letter D. So any artist begins with the letter D. For example, I can see here there's DOS, there's Dreams Comes True, right? And then of course there's the letter F. Okay, and that's like Fanatic Crisis, F Blood, Offensive Defense, things like that. Down here we got G for different bands, like probably the most popular that most people know about is Glay, okay, for example. And that continues down to about this level around here, okay. And then everything below that is having to do with video games and video game soundtracks and that kind of stuff all at the bottom. Okay. Now, as I said, I've shown in the previous videos, it took me a while to kind of, get all the CDs together. I've gone through different types of racks, so finally I've actually built one that's really, really stable and strong, with adding little supports and that kind of stuff for beams in the middle. This entire thing is made by 1x6s, and I've used some nice big beams of 2x6s across the sides there to make sure that it has all the support on the sides, and it's basically built from wall to wall. So it actually uses the internal structure of the room to actually hold the CDs all together in one place. So it went really for mass stability. Okay, so yeah, like I said, it's taken me. Well, I said I've always had a really big interest in music and love for music in this respect. Like I said, I grew up in the '80s and I collected a lot of '80s tapes and stuff like that. And then throughout the sort of the late '80s and the '90s, I started going into CDs and that kind of stuff and whatnot. in English CDs, and then as somewhere in the middle of the 90s, I switched over to listening to mostly Japanese music, anime music, and Japanese artists and stuff. And so I accumulated a lot of things on that all the way to into the 2000s. I started collecting a lot more of that kind of stuff, and I was very open to listening to lots of different musical types, lots of musical shows and that kind of stuff, music videos and that kind of stuff. So I collected a lot of that kind of stuff together. So this is the first time I've actually done a racking like this, specifically for Japanese music in general. Now, if I put all my English music, I'd probably have a rack pretty much like this as well for English music. But of course, because we're talking about anime and Japanese culture, no, I'm just only going to focus on this particular rack right now. Okay. So so it took me a while to get a lot of this material, and I've shown in previous episodes how I've used Japanese CD catalogs and that kind of stuff, and how to order them, and do various collections. Now, the funny thing is that a lot of people ask me, well, why do you have so many CDs? Are you not picky about what you listen to and that kind of stuff? Well, you see, that's the problem with the way that we listen to music, especially when you look at CDs as opposed to what you digitally get right now. Is that fact that most of these CDs, if not the majority of them, 90% of them probably, I had no idea what was on these CDs before I actually ordered them. Okay. And the reason is because when we order the CDs, especially when you see them in a magazine or you see them in the catalog, okay, there is no way to actually look and listen to the songs or sounds of the actual CD. Okay, you have some titles and that kind of stuff. Sure, if I got the CD catalog, you got some titles and that kind of stuff, but that doesn't indicate whether or not it's an actual like a musical score, or is it a drama CD, or is it maybe even just a CD full of sound effects for example, a lot of the games and stuff like that. They're just sound samples and that kind of stuff from the actual game and whatnot. Some of them might be rearranged versions and that kind of stuff, which will make it sound a little different, which is which is kind of pretty cool. But again, you don't know until you actually order it in, and then you find out. Okay, so you're right. I probably would order a bunch of different CDs, and then I would not actually know until I actually listened to them. Sure, there are a couple ones which I got in trades and that kind of stuff when I was doing, a lot of tape trading and that kind of stuff with the other members of like the CFO and that kind of stuff. Like I would have an idea of what a soundtrack would be, and then I want to get the CD version of it. Yeah, sure. Then I would know what it is, and then I know what I'm ordering. Okay, but for the vast majority of this stuff, I have no clue what some of it is. So another question would be, okay, well, of these CDs, what are some of the rarer CDs, or what are some of the ones that you really enjoy? What are maybe your first CDs that you got and whatnot? So I'll just kind of go through the shelf, and I'll pull out different examples, and I'll kind of just talk about some of the ones that I really kind of are interested in here, and kind of things in my collection. So I begin with the letter A, and A is a really big one because it has a huge section of Oh My Goddess CDs. Okay, and again, Oh My Goddess and whatnot was really popular OVA kind of series, and whatnot. And what they had made them do is the voice actors and that kind of stuff of Oh My Goddess got together and made a Seiyu band, right? And they called them the Goddess Club. Okay, and they basically had different CDs, like for example this one here, which is the best hit singles collection for the Goddess Club. So basically, it's those girls get together and they sing all the various different types of songs and that kind of stuff for them. And then they had the mini goddesses, which again was a really popular thing. I have these special sort of booklet one versions. I also have these limited edition box versions of the Amagata CDs. Okay, now these ones are really nice because these come in like like an exterior box. Okay, and when you open them up, they come up with different things inside the box, including the CD. Okay, so let me just open the one here for the Goddess singles here. Okay, so you open the thing and it comes in a separate box. Okay, the Goddess singles is on a CD by itself, but then you get this sort of pamphlet. Okay, and what this pamphlet does is it has all the liner notes and that kind of stuff and whatnot, and pictures, little posters and that kind of stuff that you can have on it as a separate little booklet. Okay, and it's a nice sort of different sort of more complete version of what this little sleeve is that you get inside here, right? So instead of trying to shove that all into a little sleeve on the sort of say the regular edition, okay, they put everything into a nice box set when you buy the as a version there. Okay, the Goddess Family Club also have got the box edition version of that, and again comes with a really nice sort of series of different booklets and that kind of stuff for it. Okay, lots. This one is a lot of photographs and images of the voice actresses and that kind of stuff in them. Okay, they have another one here which actually has all the sheet music and that stuff for all the various different sort of songs that they sing. Okay, so if you really want to know how to play the particular songs, they got it on this one here. And then more sort of fun activities and sort of omake kind of stuff for them. Okay, again, this is all in addition to the actual CD, okay, which has really kind of just a very basic liner kind of note thing here. Okay, that goes with the CD. So basically, all the really good stuff is in the actual booklets that come with the actual CD, right? So then that's sort of one of these nice things. So so for again, if you're a big fan of Oh My Goddess and that kind of stuff, they did release a whole bunch of really cool CDs for this particular set. Another very, very significant title that I remember buying really early is the City Hunter set. So they had the different soundtracks for City Hunter, and here's the City Hunter Dramatic Master, which is a big nice collection there. This is the CD for City Hunter 3. I remember when I picked this one up. This is one of the CDs I remember when I got. I was working at Radio Shack, okay, and one of the big things that they had was that, of course, I remember what we'd do is they promoted a lot of things like stereos and big huge speakers and that kind of stuff. And I've told this story before, but one of the things I really loved was on this particular soundtrack is the song from Red Monster, Hold Me Tight, because it has a nice, really nice ramping beginning, really catchy, beady kind of sort of song. And I remember, whenever I'd finish closing the shop at around 6 o'clock or whatever, I'd pop this CD in, and then I just crank the stereo up really, really loud, and just, while I'm doing the cleaning and that kind of stuff, accounting the till and that kind of stuff, I'd have this thing just blasting on the speakers. And what was really funny is that next door to the Radio Shack is this sort of 7-Eleven. I think it's called Circle K, which is like a convenience store, right? But I'm sure that the walls are paper thin, right? So I'm sure that the sound of City Hunter is just booming through their walls onto their side as they're playing like Red Monster through it. But yeah, this is like one of my favorite, one of the first soundtracks I actually got that I really liked that, and good English music on that one too as well. Another big series I ended up picking up a lot of CDs for is the series for Compiler and everything in that set. So Compiler, Interpreter, Plasma, Assembler, Compiler White. This is the actual anime OVA for that one. This is Assembler OX, cool and sparkling. This is one of those situations where, sure, I like the Compiler, the OVA, which is this one here, right? And I thought, okay, well, there's all these other Compiler CDs that are coming out. Why don't I just order them as well? Not realizing, of course, this is the only one that's actually like soundtrack, music CD and that kind of stuff, like in the set. okay, all these other ones, okay, are essentially drama CDs, okay. So, I mean, at the time I got them, they were like, okay, great, I've got them, but, don't really understand what's going on. Obviously, it's telling some sort of other story, maybe, kind of using the voice actors that they have to, kind of voice act the manga out kind of thing, which is kind of cool, I guess, but again, I don't understand what's going on. But I still order them anyway, and these things are pretty expensive. Even this version of the Sub X, right, which is already sort of in this sort of special sleeve and that kind of stuff for it. These are still about 3,000 yen, right? So about $30 US to buy each one of these CDs, right? So it's not definitely cheap, but I mean, and then of course, then to find out that they're only just drama CDs. So, maybe with the advent of AI, one of these days, I'll pump these all through a filter and actually, transcribe them and get them all translated into English so that we could actually enjoy, listening to them. But yeah, this is one of those kind of situations where, do we actually really know what I'm actually, buying in that sort of situation. Under the letter D, I know some of the first few CDs I remember buying are these ones here. I remember I bought Dragon Fist, the anime. Dan Cougar, this is one of the favorite ones because I said I was looking for that song that Sarah sings, right? I think it was episode 27 where she lost her mother, and I wanted to get that song. Couldn't figure out where the hell it was, but I figured if I ordered the CD, I'd get it, and that was a really important one that I got there. And of course, Dominion Tank Police is another one of those very first CDs that I remember picking up really early on. So again, so these, again, are very popular CDs, at least, to me. Another one of my favorite series that I remember getting really interested in because I played a lot of it on the PC Engine game console was Graduation, okay? Now again, the only one that's really important is this one here, which is the Graduation OVA soundtrack, right? So again, it has like many things like that. But then again, I played the game a lot, so I thought, okay, there's gonna be some neat stuff. So I noticed that they had this series of these Graduation CDs using the first Graduation characters and that kind of stuff, made by CD Bunko. Okay, now CD Bunko, makes a lot of novels and that kind of stuff. So these are also all CD dramas for the thing. Different situations that you would get in the game and whatnot. All in using the voice actors to to do the voice acting to drama, to make radio dramas essentially. Again, one of those type of things where I didn't know what that was until I actually bought them. Again, this is the only one that actually is the OVA soundtrack with with the music that you got from the actual show. So that's this is probably the best one there. It does have a little bit of drama on it as well. So again, maybe when in time when we get AI to go through and actually start translating this, or use a universal translator when they get that out, to translate these ones. Again, one of those type of things you find out later on, right? Under the letter H, one of my favorite CDs here is for this series here. This is the soundtrack for Hime-chan's Ribbon. Okay, this is the first sort of magical girl show that Daisuke really wanted to get into, and do the translation for. And I really like the opening of these episodes. I mean, it's popularized by SMAP, so definitely a very, very famous band to do the music on it. But I found that the soundtrack and the music was really, really nice on it. Especially the one that really gets me is of course the violin kind of with piano pieces that they usually have. Especially the really sad pieces or that. Very nice, very slow, very, very almost calming, right? But of course, because of the fact that I know that they're used for all the sad scenes, it always kind of gets me on those ones. But definitely, those are really popular. Also under L, one of the very first ones I got because I was really interested in the series is this series here. These are the 4 main CDs for Heavy Metal Elgime, and this is the special CD box for Elgime. It's the double CD for this one. This one has all the opening, ending theme songs. Time for Elgime and whatnot as well. All different songs by Mio and whatnot, as well as all the soundtracks for this particular series. Again, I got really interested in Elgime at the very beginning. Again, didn't know what it was going didn't know what it was about at the very when I was doing all the trading and that kind of stuff. It wasn't until later when I got the Laserdisc box set, and then I got someone to start translating it and whatnot, and we did all the subtitles for that particular series. So definitely this is really satisfying that now that we have the technology to go through and actually finally finish that series. It was really nice. Under the letter K, probably this set here. This is my set of the Orange Road. Again, since we did the fan subs for Orange Road, right at the very beginning, this is probably one of the very first sort of main CD sets that I ended up buying all the CDs for. And and again, these are one of my absolutely favorite CDs at the very beginning when I first bought all these ones, and just grew a really good appreciation for saxophone music and the actual piano pieces and that kind of stuff. These contain all the opening theme songs, ending theme songs, and that kind of stuff, as well as a lot of the CD, the background music and that kind of stuff. A lot of them, especially a lot of the peaceful stuff, the saxophone stuff, really nice music in this set. So I'm really happy that I got this set when I did, because I said these are really expensive nowadays. So definitely. Under the letter L, some of the rarest and hardest to get CDs that I have for this one is these two. Okay, this is the one for Lock to Superman. Okay, this CD, and as well as the one for Yoko Leda. Okay, the Fantastic Journey of Yoko Leda. Again, I really like the ending theme song for that they had in Yoko Leda, and I remember I got it initially from an audio trade when I was trading video cassettes with who was that? I think it was from CFO Denver that I got the soundtrack for Yoko Leda, and I thought I had that on audio cassette, so I thought, okay, well, if I found it on a CD, then I can basically buy the CD for that, and and get a better copy of that. So those are two sort of the biggest sort of names in the letter L that I have for this collection. Anyway, so that's sort of the main sort of titles and that kind of stuff in the anime section. So this is the top part here of different CDs. And of course, just probably more that I can go through. Because just now going through it, and you realize, okay, there's Phantom Quest Core, the actual CD. This is the Pioneer P anime version of that. So again, the English version of that particular CD. So you can see that if I sat here going through this, we'd be here all day doing this. But again, there are a lot of different things in here. And again, if you want me to do more episodes, more sort of detailed look at this stuff, I'll put your comments down below, and I'll definitely spend more time going through and picking out more titles out of here that of particular interest. But again, this is sort of a start on this long series of different episodes. We're going to cover people's collections and that kind of stuff. Okay, maybe in the next episode I'll go and work on the music on the lower half here, which is all the Japanese artists and that kind of stuff, and different bands and that kind of stuff that I followed and whatnot. Okay, so until next time, I will see you again.